Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode 136, and we are glad you're back. It's another Thursday, which means it is another episode of the Late Night Vision Show. This is the only podcast for all you night vision and thermal hog and predator hunters. And I'm going to bring in my good buddy here, and I'm going to say this. If you went to the NFR this week and you saw a cowboy in the crispest, tightest starch jeans of anybody out there, look like George Strait, it probably was George Strait. But if you see a guy there with a beautiful wife and you say to yourself, man, that guy outkicked his coverage, then it is probably our own Mr. Jason Robertson, the owner of Outdoor Legacy. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Yes, sir. That is true. All that was absolutely true.
We both outkicked our coverage, didn't we?
We both outkicked our coverage. So, yes.
Okay. We both have beautiful wives.
We absolutely do. And I thought you were actually going to compare me to George Strait for a minute, but it's happened on this show before. But I think the consensus is I'm just like George Strait, except I'm about 8 inches shorter. I'm not near as good looking, and I can't sing. But otherwise, me and George have a lot in common. A lot.
If you see somebody with some jeans that can stand up on their own, big old belt buckle and a big old cowboy hat, then that's
right.
Jason's going to NFR this week, taking his wife and his kids, and going to have a good old time.
That's right. National Finals Rodeo is in Texas this year. Got canceled in Vegas for the same reason that the SHOT Show did. So it's in Texas, and we snagged some tickets and figured it's the first time since it's been here since the early 60s. So we're going to load up and go see some rodeo. So, yep, absolutely.
So, we look forward to hearing about next week. But this is episode 136, y'all. This is the best of series. We are starting it by popular demand. It is back. The best thermal scopes of 2020, and we are kicking it off with the best entry-level thermal scope of 2020. And also, we're doing 2 awards tonight, Jason, because this is so popular. So many people throughout the year say, when you're going to do your best of? Well, it's happening right now. We're doing the best entry-level scopes and the best thermal scopes under $3,000. So 2 awards tonight. Before we do that, before we get into that, if you listen to episode 135, we talked about American Defense Manufacturing Sightmark Wraith QD mount that we're doing some giveaways on. So if you missed it, go back and check out episode 135. You can register on the latenightvision.com website. That drawing is the deadline for that. You have to register by Monday, December 14th, 2020, in case you're watching this a year down the road. 2020, December 14th. Go register at the latenightvision.com. Also, one last thing before I go hand it over to you for these awards. I'm wearing a flannel, you can't see it, Jason, a flannel jacket. And I've been wearing a flannel jacket in a lot of my pictures on Instagram. And people say, hey, what's up with the flannel jacket? I am wearing this out of spite, and that is a terrible, very unchristian thing to do. But when I bought 2 flannel jackets last year at the end of the wintertime, my wife said, why are you buying that? You'll never wear it. So I'm wearing it out of spite to spite her, and I'm wearing it in every Instagram picture and now on the Late Night Vision Show podcast. So take that, Crystal. There's your flannel coat.
I'm not going to lie to you. Those are pretty hideous, but I'm glad to know this because I actually wasn't going to say anything. I have been noticing that you've been wearing these flannel coats, and I thought you looked like a gangbanger from Chicago, but it's cool. Whatever works for you.
She said you'll never wear it, so just to spite her, I'm going to every picture from here on out, it's going to be in a flannel coat.
You're going to wear it. Okay.
They're warm. They're good. I love
it. I wondered why you had that thing. But okay. Well,
let's talk about what's our lineup for the best entry-level scopes of 2020? Who are the contenders?
Okay. So the list is shorter. Well, actually not true. That's not true. Last year we had 2 contenders. Last year we had the FLIR the FLIR Thermocyte Pro PTS 233 and the Pulsar Core RXQ 30V. We awarded that in December to FLIR, And in January, before SHOT Show, FLIR fell off of the face of the earth, closed up their thermal scope business.
I know, perfect timing.
And I made this very, very expensive crystal award, had that thing made. We went to the SHOT Show. There was nobody there to award it to. And it sits it sits on top of my bookshelf in my office up there above my head like a Grammy that I never won. And so I paid for it, so it's sitting in my office. If anybody from FLIR ever wants that, call me.
The SHOT Show 2020 video that we did, and we're presenting that award to nobody in an empty booth where FLIR was supposed to be. I'm sure had some FLIR people hating us.
I don't think we won any friends, but hey, they left the market, and they left us all hanging here. So this year, I am glad to say we still have 2 contenders, and we've got the Pulsar Core RXQ30V. Now this scope, this is an old standby, all right? The RXQ was first announced in January of 2017, which is in technology a long time ago. In electronic years, it's a while back. But 2017, it was an unbelievable scope. It was the least expensive thermal scope the market had ever seen. Still one of the least expensive. It is my opinion the least expensive quality thermal scope. There are some other contenders. I'm just going to go ahead and say this about this whole show. We need to bring this up now. There's going to be some brands, there's going to be some scopes, and you're going to say, hey, but what about? And if we don't list it here, there's a reason. And it just means we don't feel that it was a valid contender. Okay? It doesn't mean that necessarily we think everything about that brand is bad, or that we think that, all their scopes are junk, or whatever. Whatever that brand is, I know in the comments there's going to be, hey, but what about? We just did not feel that it deserved a spot in here right now.
We're not here to bring on any scopes to embarrass any customer or companies or to dog any scopes. We're talking about contenders that next year things may change. We hope they do change, and we hope that there's more in this category. But Jason's right. We're not here to kick anybody.
No, we're not here. And I will go ahead and say we might as well just name the brand and get this one big brand out here, because everybody's going to ask. We're going to ask for every single show. We will not be putting any ATN optics in any of these categories. Hey, I'm just saying it. We've gone through this. If you don't know why, go watch episode 41 of the Late Night Vision Show way back a couple years ago, and you can learn about that. But so
cue all the comments of all the people.
All the ATN pro staff.
All the ATN lovers out there.
Hey, Dave, if you got the scope and you like it and it works for you, go for it. We're not going to put them in this list. So here's what we got. Entry level, RXQ30V. We're going to include this scope, and I'm going to go down the specs on it. And then Hans is going to talk about the new for 2020, Bearing Optics Hogster R25. Okay. And so he's going to go over all those specs. But right now, I'm going to talk about the old standby, the scope that everybody knows, the Pulsar Core RXQ30V. It is $1,899, the same price it's been since it was originally released. I want to mention this right up front. There's a lot of confusion on this scope. When it first came out, when it was introduced, it had a green tint over the display screen. It was, again, black and white, but with like a green film or green tint over it. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. It doesn't matter, because in January of 2019, the scope was taken off the market for about 4 months, and Pulsar retooled or did whatever they had to do. They took out the green tint, and since January of 2019, almost 2 years now, it has only had the black and white display. So it is a black and white display on that scope. And it has a 1.6 power base magnification. It has a fixed focus. That's a big deal. We can get into that a little more in a minute, but you cannot focus the objective lens. It has a resolution of 384 by 288 pixels at 17 microns. It has no video recording options at all. You cannot internally or externally record video. Any video you ever see out of that scope is somebody holding a cell phone up behind the lens or the eyepiece, something like that, because you cannot record video. It has a max recoil rating of up to and including a 375 H&H. That's a huge caliber. It takes two CR123A batteries, and it also will use an external USB battery pack. Just a standard battery pack will work with that. Anything you can buy at Walmart for $30. It comes with about a 7 or 8 inch long Picatinny rail mount. So this is not a quick detach mount. It is a mount. It's got 2 thumb screws on it. And if you see some pictures that looks like it's quick detach, those are old pictures. But it is a thumb screw mount. If you would like to have a quick detach mount, Pulsar sells an alternative mount that is $99 for a quick detach mount. There's some other brands and stuff that are in the $200 to $250 range. We won't talk about those. Just $100 if you wanted to put a usable quick detach mount. Again, it is black and white only. There are no color palettes. There's no other fancy features like streaming, smartphone apps, all that jazz. It's, there's no colored reticles or anything. It is just a black and white screen, and it has a 3-year warranty. So the big thing to take away from that, most important thing, if you didn't hear anything else, is it's $18.99. It's got a 1.6 power base magnification. It's got a 384 resolution and no video.
Yeah. So I like the way we're doing this. We're starting with best entry level scopes, and each week we're going to work our way up until we get to the best high end thermal scope. So it's almost like this is a fight card, or like UFC. And right now the best entry level scopes is kind of like the flyweight division or something, and then we work up to the heavyweight division. So
there you go.
I'm loving this format we're doing. So
okay, good.
You're like, thank you.
No, I agree. I think it's good because let me tell you why. Last year when we did this, it was kind of just a random idea we came up with, and it was like 2 kids on ADD because we were like starting at 6,000, then entry level, then there was no rhyme or reason. Hans and I were confused, so I'm sure all the listeners were. But this year, we're going to try to do it in some semblance of an order.
Yes, so we are. So it's competition. So the Pulsar Core RXQ30V is going up against, like Jason said, the Bearing Optics Hogster R 25 millimeter. I'm going to run down the specs in similar order. The price on this thermal scope is $2,295. The magnification starts at 1.4 power and goes up to 5.6. It does, and this is a very important contrasting feature, this does have a focusable objective lens. Very important and very sought after, especially in this price range. Resolution is 384 resolution at 17 microns. It does not have onboard recording, but you can record video with an MDVR recorder. So it is possible, no onboard recording. The recoil rating on this is up to a 308. So 308 caliber. The battery system on it does take 2 CR123A batteries. They say they get about 4 hours of run life, give or take. Maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more sometimes. The mount, again, another important contrasting feature. It does come with a QD. It's a 1 throw lever QD mount, and a very, very important feature. It does have multiple color palette options, multiple color reticle options, multiple reticle choices. So it does has, I think it has 4 different. It has a white hot, black hot, and a couple others that you probably would never use, but that's okay. They're in there.
They're there.
And it has a 4-year warranty. So 4-year warranty, a little bit longer than the Pulsar Core warranty. So though that is a rundown of the specs. It's like a tale of the tape before the big fight. So we're going to get into our likes and kind of our contrasting likes and dislikes, and then we're going to give you who we think the winner is. So, Jason, okay. I'll yield it to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to say this. So I'm going to say where I think the things that matter, and I always hate doing this because you're going to leave something off, and somebody's going to make a comment, and they're going to be right. They're like, hey, but what about? You're like, I didn't think about that. But the things that I pick out that are important to me between these is I'm gonna go down each side in case this is what I like and this is where I kind of think it's better. I think the RXQ's price is obviously better. I like the price. Okay, it's cheaper. That is $22.95, $18.99. It's $400 difference. All right, but I do want to add to this. So most people, not everybody, but most people want a quick detach mount, and even if they don't really care about the quick detach mount, a lot of people don't like the included Pulsar mount because it's so long. And it's made long because that works well if you've got a Picatinny rail on a bolt action rifle.
Right.
You can't put it, it needs a Picatinny rail, but you put the Picatinny rail on a bolt action and you can slide the scope back on the mount, with the screws. You can mount it further back and get better eye relief. So this is going to be a little bit of a split down the middle here. If you've got a bolt action rifle, and you want to put this on there, and you're going to, again, have to have the Picatinny rail on your rifle, the RXQ is a little better because the mount that comes in the box is going to let you do that. But most guys want the quick detach, or at least they want the smaller footprint of the quick detach mount, and you're going to pay $100 to do that. That's the least expensive quick detach mount made for the RXQ, and that's going to bring you up to $19.99, or basically $2,000, which now makes this a $300 difference. So because again, quick detach mount is already included on the Hogster. So if we bring those up to apples and apples, we're at a $300 difference. All right.
Right.
So I like that about the Hogster, that it does come with that. But going on down, I would say I like the fact that the RXQ has got the higher recoil rating, a 375 H&H, as compared to just a 308 on the Hogster. So I think that is a plus. I think that from here, I start sliding things over into the Hogster category. There's one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing that I will give to the RXQ. It's a 1.6 power versus a 1.4. It's minor, but I would prefer to have a little more on this Hogster 25. But I will say that I've put these two optics side by side, and this is something I guess I should have talked about early on. And I can talk about this in minutes, the image quality, but I will come back to that. We're just going to go down specs. Okay. I will say that 1.4 versus 1.6, it's there. You can see it when they're side by side, but it's not a big difference. And if I handed you one and then 5 minutes later handed you the other, you wouldn't know the difference. Yeah. I mean, you need them side by side, and you've got to be looking for it. It's not a big difference. So I do like that a little bit better. But now going over to where I think the Hogster starts, winning, should I say here, is this focusable objective. Big deal. That's a big deal for image quality. We're not going to get into this. I'm just going to mention that, yes, there are fixed focus scopes that are very expensive and have very good image quality. I mean, like for instance, the Trigicons, the Envisions, these high-end $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 scopes are fixed focus. It's a just totally different technology. They're made for that. When you're talking about these scopes right here, the fixed focus does make a difference. You're going to get a better clarity being able to focus these objective lenses on these style of scopes. And so I do give the check mark there for the Hogster. Going down quickly, if you want to record video, it's going to cost you another couple $100 to get a video recorder and cable and some stuff set up. So it's an added expense, but if you want to do it, you can do it. So I do like that is a possibility where it's no possibility at all with the RXQ. I do like the fact that if you want, you have some color palette options on the Hogster. Not a big deal to me, but I do like being able to change the crosshair color. So that's another plus. And then 4-year warranty is better than 3, so that's a nice thing as well. So that's my rundown of kind of what I like. Now, I totally haven't talked about it. I've totally skipped it. Why don't you tell us what you think about the image quality of the two? Because that is obviously what people are really going to want to know.
Yeah, so I'll run down the image quality. I'm going to add a couple other likes that I'm going to throw in there for the Pulsar side. First of all,
okay.
First of all, the Pulsar Core RXQ30V, like you said, has been around for quite a while. It's just a workhorse, man.
It is.
It's a proven thermal scope in the industry for just about as long as any other model of thermal scope that's been around. So, something that's tried, true, tested, popular. People come back and buy it. So it's got that working for it.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to say, since you said that, under $6,000, because there's a couple Trigicons that have been around, under $6,000, this is the only thermal scope that I know of that has been on the market since January of 2017.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's a long, I mean, in you think about that, between $1,900 and $6,000, there's a lot of scopes have come and gone. So that's a very good point. It is a workhorse. It's tried and it's true.
And you said, in technology years, 1 year is a long time. It's like, I guess it would be like dog years. So maybe this scope is going on almost 21 years old in dog years, because it's true. 1 year in technology sense is a long time. But also another positive, it's a Pulsar product. And we know about the company. We know how great the customer service is, the quality of the products that come out of there. And those are two very big factors. But all of the likes that you mentioned for the Hogster 25 millimeter are very important and well worth being mentioned. So the image quality, the Hogster 25 millimeter, you and I, when we you got yours first and called me, and you opened it up and got out of the box and looked at it, and you said, "This is unbelievable. You're not going to believe this." And Jason is not one to over exaggerate. So I knew when I got it, it was going to be very good, but I was completely impressed. We've been testing several of the Hogsters right now, but the 25 millimeter, as soon as I got out of the box, I talk about the texture of a picture image and the different textures, because it seems like across different brands, they just seem to have a different texture, whether one has a softer image or a sharper image. The image on the Hogster is very, very sharp. Looks crisp, looks, in some cases looks like there's a lot of detail. And it's just the way that they do the software and firmware, where they can kind of create their own sharpness and contrast. It looks, in my opinion, the Hogster looks sharper and more crisp than the Pulsar Core RXQ30V. May give it the impression that it does have a little bit better picture image, but I think what really helps that, and what you've alluded to and talked about, is the focusable objective lens, and that you can have a sub $2,400 quality thermal scope with a focusable objective lens has really just kind of altered the expectations of what people should and expect to get in that price range from here on out. Because I think now the bar's kind of been set at that level with this scope. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here.
I think that the image quality at the base magnification of the Hogster 25, the R25, is unbelievably good for this price range, and I think that it beats some of the old scopes. I say old, I mean scopes that maybe a year, 2-3 years ago have been discontinued now, that we thought were really good in this $2,500 to $2,800 price range. I think it beats some of those. I mean, the image quality is outstanding. And so Hans is kind of laid this groundwork out, and I don't know if he said it or said it as strongly as I want to, but the image quality on this Hogster is astounding for the dollars. It that sets a new bar, whether it's focusable or not. This sets the bar. It's really, really good. And I think that what we're seeing, as much as we love the Pulsar, as much as I love it, I think that this image quality just blows it away. And I know there's some guys going to go, yeah, but it's at base, price versus base price, it's $400 more. That's a lot at $1,900. That's more than I want to spend. Sure, I'm going to give you that. But I think that if you put these two scopes side by side, and you saw them, I think that anyone could see the difference in the image quality. Now, one thing I want to talk about quickly, I know we got to kind of hurry because we're going to run out of time because we got a whole other scope to talk about. But that is, I want to talk about the shooting distances and the abilities. So I feel like the shooting ranges are going to be the same on both of these. And I think that's going to be maxing out about 175 to 200 yards. And I think those need to be your long shot, like something you don't want to do, but you just had to do randomly. And it's mostly because of the low magnification. You're going to bump this scope up, whether it's the RXQ, you're going to bump it up one time from 1.6 to 3.2 power, or this scope 1.4, the Hogster up to 2.8. Most people are not comfortable shooting at those magnifications much over 100, 125 yards. And when you zoom them up again, and you make that 6.4 or that 5.6 jump to the the highest magnification they go, it's going to be grainy. It's going to be pixelated on both of them. You're not going to want to be shooting there. So these scopes are designed for close range. I mean, let's just be very clear. If you're looking for a coyote hunting scope, then you want to shoot a lot of 100, 200-yard shots. These aren't it. But I do think that for your hog hunters, for your guys who maybe they're coyote hunters, you're shooting close range, you're shooting over bait piles, whatever it is, these two scopes are going to be really good. But I think the image quality on this Hogster is just a big step ahead.
So are we ready to announce our winner? If
I think everybody who's listened already knows. So, I want to mention one more thing before I announce the winner. Okay. I want to say this real quick. And there's some speculation all year on what is going to happen to the RXQ30V. Is it going to be discontinued? Is it going to continue on? At one point, Pulsar had said it was probably not going to be around. It's been a mess. 2020 is just, with all the virus stuff and the problems with supply and demand and manufacturing. This scope has been an extremely low supply this year, and we're not sure what's going to happen in 2021. I don't think anybody knows. We hadn't got through 2020. We've got a few more weeks of that. But it's unlikely that we're going to see this scope at a normal mom and pop Pulsar dealers in 2021. Could it be at some of the other big box stores? Maybe. Will it be exactly what it is today or a changed version? Don't know. We really just don't know exactly what's going to happen until it happens. But as of right now, December 2020, I would just say it is in extremely low demand. They come, a few here and a few there, and pretty much any Pulsar dealer will tell you that we've had a hard time getting them this year. But I think if they do go into 2021, it's going to look different of where it's going to be available and what's going to be with that scope. So I think it's got a little bit of an uncertain future for a lot of us. But with that said, our pick, I think it's obvious. It's going to be the new Hogster, Bearing Optics Hogster 25. Hans, I'm going to assume you're going to agree with that. Are you going to? I know you love the RXQ, but are you going to?
I feel like we need to cue some applause music. Maybe I need to get that up on the audio.
Yeah, cue the applause. Yeah.
Congratulations, Bearing Optics, on your Hogster 25mm. You have won the best entry-level scope for 2020. And I will say this: last year, 2019's winner, it was the Core, like you said, versus the FLIR PTS 233. We chose the 233. The Bearing Optics Hogster 25mm, basically the same price. The picture image is much better, I think, than the FLIR PTS 233.
No question. And that was a 1.5 power scope, the 233 was, so we're very close here. It did have internal video recording on the FLIR. Yep. And I know how much Hans loves that, but I can tell you this, the image on the Hogster, I would take it 10 times over the PTS 233 just because of the image. So yes, 2020 best of entry-level thermal scopes under $2,400. Late night vision show, official pick is going to be the Hogster
so you asked for
R25. That's it. That's our choice.
Yep. So we're going to get to our moving right on along. This is the last scope award we're going to get for this show. So stay tuned on the following weeks for the other awards. But best thermal scope under $3,000, and this is going to go very quickly and
this is a
easily.
Giant category
Because we have one scope in this category.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this real quick, and then I'm going to let Hans introduce the scope. So
Okay.
Here's the thing. We talked about this, and we've got a couple things happening here. Number one, I believe that this time in next year, so 2021 December, I think that this same price range of what we're going to, let's just say sub $3,000 and entry level, anything between, I don't know exactly what else coming, but let's just say the same 1,900, whatever, to $3,000. I think we will see, I'm going to make a speculation, twice, 2.5 times as many scopes here. I think we're fixing to see the market. Total. I think there's going to be, I don't want to make a prediction on exactly how many, but I bet there's 6, 7 at least in this total price range. So,
and if Jason Robertson says it, he's on the inside. He knows these things,
well,
y'all. So
there's going to be some scopes, is all I'm going to say. But I will also say that I think that we could not let this next scope go because it didn't have a competitor. Because
yeah.
And you go, well, that's no, wait a minute. This is the most important price range in my opinion. Yes, entry level is important, but there's so many guys that are looking from this 24 to 3,000 list, 25 to 3,000. They want to be in that price range. Right. They want something that is a little step up. They want something good. It is just the place to be. There's only one company that has been able to produce this scope that is outstanding. Yeah. And this, there's been a hold here since the Pulsar Apexes were officially discontinued in 2018. And so, to get a really, really good scope, and I know there's been a few scopes, maybe some other brands and things that I think were okay. This, we're fixing to give an award to. Yes, I know it's the only one, but this is not a participation trophy.
No, this is
so
not.
So tell them what it is.
You're exactly right. We had to create this category for 2 reasons, because we know of some things coming for this year, and also most people that call up to Outdoor Legacy, they say, I want a good thermal scope, $3,000 and under. So we have the winner of the best thermal scope under $3,000 is the
drum roll
Bearing Optics Hogster R 35 millimeter. I'm going to run down the specs real quick. They are very similar to the 25 millimeter. So the price, $2,675. It starts out on 2 power and goes up to 8 power. It does have a focusable objective lens. It's a 384 thermal resolution core, 17 microns. It does not have the onboard recording, but it will record video with an MDVR recorder. The recoil rating goes up to 308 caliber. Also runs off 2 CR123A batteries. The QD mount, one throw lever QD mount, is included. And yes, it does have multiple color palettes and color reticle choices. So our winner, best thermal scope under $3,000. And this is not just a giveaway award. This is a dang good scope. And the number one selling Bearing Optics thermal scope. And it is the Hogster R 35 millimeter.
Yes. $2,675. I don't know if you said that price. $2,675. So it is. It's a bargain. I think, there's a lot of people want to talk about the Super Hogster. That's their scope's $3,120. 3 power, internal video, all those things. We'll talk about that in another episode. And that's a good scope. Mm-hmm. But it's $500 more. This scope is the value. This is the best value of the 3 scopes that they have today, December 2020. It's the value. That doesn't mean I don't like the Super Hogster. Okay, we'll talk about that. We've already reviewed
that's in a different class.
Scope. It's a different class. But I'm saying dollar for dollar value, just for a guy that's trying to get into it. I think this is a bargain. Now, We talked about this on our show before, but I know there's going to not people haven't watched our reviews. And by the way, if you want to see our in-depth reviews of all three of these scopes discussed here today, we have them on the Late Night Vision show, the RXQ30V, the Hogster R25, Hogster R35. We have done reviews on those, and Hans has put videos out on his YouTube channel, HANSETX, Hansies, Texas, where you can see review videos of all those. He just did one on both the Hogster 25 and 35, so go check that out as well. But what I wanted to say is that I just want to quickly mention this because a lot of people make this mistake. They start at looking at something like the RXQ. Maybe they even start at something less than that they realize quickly is not going to meet their needs, and then they get up and they go, okay, I'll spend $1,900. All right, well, hang on a minute. What's this Hogster 25? Oh, gosh, that's almost $2,300. I didn't want to spend that, but you know what? Okay, I'm going to do it. Well, wait a minute. What is this? It's $2,675. I guess I should do that. And then before you know it, they're there. Then they're at the Super Hogster that's $3,100, and it's never ending. And it's like mama's kicking you out and you're sleeping in the truck kind of deal, but don't make that mistake. And what I mean by this is the Hogster 25, while I understand it's close, and there are guys that I'm like, hey, you know what? For what you want to do, you need to swing the extra money, save up if it takes another few months, get to the 35. But if you are looking for this certain price range, if you are going to be shooting close range, you don't need the magnification. The 25 is an outstanding scope on its own, and the 35 being at 2 power is, a noticeable more magnification. And so it is a different scope of its own. They each have their strong points, and I really like this 35. I think that it is, again, same great image quality. It's a heck of a scope for the money. And I think it's going to have some competition this year, next year, 2021, but I can't wait to see it because these are exciting times. And I know that there's a lot of guys, and I want to bring this up and we'll kind of wrap with this unless Hans has something else to say, but there's a lot of guys who've been complaining, saying, man, thermal scopes aren't coming down. Well, I think what we're seeing is now, where I see this market moving to, is we're going to have more options in this $2,000 to $3,000 range. No, I don't think in 2021 we're going to see a bunch of amazing $1,200 and $1,500 thermals. Okay, I think we're gonna maintain this 2,000, 18, 1,900, whatever, and up price range. But I think you're going to get a lot more value for your dollar than what we've seen in the past. I think as the technology has improved, it's trickling down. And Hans and I have talked about this in some of our other videos. You may never be able to afford or could justify buying a $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 scope, but trust me, you want to see those scopes get better, and it should excite you because as they get better, their old technology trickles down. Right. So then what used to be $7,500 is now $6,000. Yeah, it's $5,000. And in a few years, really, this is going to happen one day. I make this prediction: what cost $5,000 or $6,000 one day will cost, $2,000. It's going to happen. It's going to eventually trickle down that far.
A good example of that, the price not necessarily coming down, but the value and the quality going up. Look at the transition from the Pulsar trails over to the Thermions. The prices remained exactly the same, but you got a much better thermal scope out of it, and with more features and a new design and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you're exactly right on that. The quality and the value are increasing. The prices are holding steady. So it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, but we are going to see a lot more. We're seeing it right here with these Hogsters, a lot more options in this price range. Yeah. And so 2021 is going to be exciting, so these are our two picks.
Yeah. You and I last year, I think when, right after SHOT Show, when FLIR announced that they were dropping out of the consumer market, we just sort of like, man, there's got to be more competition. we just need more competition. And here we go. Boy, this year has opened a lot of floodgates, and it's going to continue to ramp up. There's going to be more and more competition coming out this year. So I'm excited about it. Exciting times.
It definitely is. So, folks, just one more time, quick rundown. Best thermal scope, entry level, basically under $2,400 is what we're calling it this year. Sometimes we're going to tweak these numbers and move them around kind of where we think, what fits in best into each category. But we're going to say that this year is going to be the Hogster Bearing Optics Hogster R25 1.4 power base mag. And the best thermal optic under $3,000 is going to be the Bearing Optics Hogster R35 2 power base mag. $2,675 is the price on that, and again $2,295 on the other. So there we go, folks. I hope that helps you when you're getting ready to pick out your thermal scope. If you've got questions about that, you can always let us know. Go to outdoorlegacygear.com. outdoorlegacygear.com. You can see all the scopes there. I know a lot of people, especially this time of year, go and then they call or send an email and they say, you don't have anything in stock. What is the deal? And the deal is it's supply and demand. It's hard to get this stuff. There's been a waiting list, but don't just look and assume, oh man, this is out of stock. He's never going to have it. You never know. I mean, we have stuff coming in every single week. Somebody will call. I had guys today call to me, and I just can't believe you never have this. And I'm like, hey, I got some coming in, in 2 days from now. But here's the deal. They're not going to hit the shelf because we're going to talk to so many people this week that they're going to put their name on one. And so anyway, holler at us, email us, whatever it is. If you're looking for scopes and you got questions about availability, if you need help answering your questions on which one might work best for you, we'd be glad to do that. That phone number is 877-350-1818, and we appreciate your support. Now, I've already told you where to go find them, but if you want to see the reviews of all these scopes, plus all kinds of hog hunting action, coyote hunting action, if it is a predator or a varmint and it runs around at night, Hans will shoot it and record it and put it on video. So he puts it out there on YouTube at the Hans East Texas YouTube channel, HANSETX. He also lives on Instagram posting pictures. He is on my short list of people because he cannot keep a secret. This guy, if he knows about something or he's got something, he takes a picture of it and he puts it out there, and he takes the wind out of my sails over and over. I'm going to tell you.
That's because you post once every 2 weeks. I can't wait for you.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to real quick since the show's over, and everybody, you can sign off. This is just between Hans and I. So this guy, I'm going to tell you the kind of guy he is. So he, in his defense, he spends a lot of time every week, and he posts a Solunar table, which is based on the moon phases of the best evening hunting times for hogs.
And you said, I want you to use this.
Wait. I'm going to tell you, some people don't know what this is.
Go ahead.
He creates this little table. It's for evening hog hunting times. It's a really nice little deal.
Out of the kindness of my heart.
He does it for free. He posts it on Instagram. We post it on Facebook, on the Late Night Vision Show Facebook account, and he posts it all over Instagram. It gets shared all over. Cool little deal. Well, on the top of it, he has a picture every week of somebody and a dead hog or a dead coyote or something. I mean, it's just a great, hero type picture of somebody there with their animal. Normally it's him or his hunting buddies or whatever. If I send him pictures of something. So my daughter kills her first hog. We talked about this on last week's show, and I sent him the picture, and I'm like, here, you can use this for your hunting times. He says, oh, that's great. I'll do it. He puts it on there and post it before I can even post this as a father bragging on my own daughter. I didn't mean he had to use it that minute.
Here's why the listeners are going to agree with me, is because
they're not.
This calendar or this timetable starts Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
Jason wanted me to post it on Tuesday, which was going to be a day late for everybody that wanted to hunt.
You normally don't get them to me till Tuesday anyway.
No.
So, folks, You're like watching two old married
Yeah.
couples fight right now, but I'm going to say this. He could have used this picture another time, but no. And then the last thing, I don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to bring anybody's attention to it. We had something. I haven't even said anything to him about this. We had a very, very nice custom item made for us, and it was going to be an announcement on the show, and we're going to do some exciting things in about 3 or 4 weeks. And he posted it on Instagram. I have no idea. I haven't even talked to him about it. I have no idea what this guy. He cannot keep a secret. He's concerning me, y'all. So if you want all the secrets, emails,
I have
send
no idea
Hans.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's even worse. See, he doesn't even know when he gives away the nuclear codes. After the show's over, we'll talk about it. Folks, I'm just giving him a hard time. He does post a bunch of great stuff over there. I am just giving him crap. We're this is what we do. So if I was nice to him, he'd think he was dying and didn't know it. But
If you were nice to me, I thought I would think you were about to fire me. So
that's not going to happen. Nobody wants to hear me talk. So anyway, thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah. All right. So this has been episode 136, the best thermal scope, entry level thermal scope, and best thermal scope under $3,000. Stay tuned for the next several weeks because we're going to continue on with the best of. We're going to finish it up before the end of the year, and we're going to jump off to the new year and talk about more
we're going
scopes.
to finish it before the end of the year, but
Well, we'll see.
we're going to try.
There's a lot of stuff we got going on and a lot of stuff we got to do, but we're going to try to get it wrapped up before then. But thank you all for joining us. Hey, check out the latenightvision.show.com. Check out all our past episodes. Go find Jason at Instagram, Facebook, and also on YouTube, Outdoor Legacy Gear. And find all the scopes and night vision thermal scopes on outdoorlegacygear.com. Y'all stay safe in the fields. Keep making them pancakes. We'll see y'all next week.